So here we're attaching the coupler. The wine is at the tip. You just need to make sure you have that engaged correctly. It's just a simple quarter turn, squeeze the handle. Sometimes it's easy to hug the keg and then just squeeze the handle up and place the keg onto the rack. Now the keg's on the rack, you turn on the pump, turn on the beverage inlet, and then start turning the gas. Turn that at about 45-degree angle and you'll start hearing it hissing. It should be at 2 bar when it first starts, but that's quite fine. And then what will happen is as the wine goes into the keg, that will force the air out through the air outlet. You might need to tweak it a little bit, but you want it to be reducing relatively slowly so there's a bit of pressure against the wine as it's going into the keg. But just play with that. If it's adjusted correctly, you should be doing it about 10 litres a minute. And as I said, as the keg is filling, that pressure will start to reduce. So here we can see the pressure is starting to reduce quite a bit now, and in a minute we'll start looking at the keg and we'll see here it's getting very close to being filled. Now what's important is this last bit. You're going to hear some creaks and cracks if you've got the right thing happening. Don't worry, it's quite safe, but what you'll start noticing is this last bit seems to happen quite quickly, relatively speaking. As the keg gets filled, you'll start seeing those air pockets between the keg and the bladder starting to decrease. You can see this now getting pushed tightly against the keg. This is a perfect fill where it's nice and tight. There's no real visible, there's small creases, but no visible air gaps. If we look down the bottom, once again, no visible air gaps. So we're at the point now where we let it for 5 seconds. We turn off the beverage. That's step 1. Turn off the pump. Step 2. Turn off the gas side. Step 3. Now you just simply disconnect the coupler, just twisting it gently. You might need to maneuver it a little bit, but just it'll pop off. And there we go. Try and keep the coupler in the upside down position. This will save you having to fiddle around with it for the next fill. And it means that the wine's at the tip ready to go for the next fill. Next step is make sure you do your sanitization. It's always important to do these sanitization parts. And then you're pretty much ready to go. Take it off the rack, put it on the pallet, put on one of the snap caps, hygiene caps, and the job's done.